Hey, Battle Bill here with another video, and today we're getting some more Master League Premier Cup Go Bad League battles. Alright, today I've got a set for you guys that was submitted to me by a member of the community. His name is Blitzcam, and I'm going to shoutcast it for you all. I'm very excited to shoutcast this set because he's been telling me all about the success he's been having with Hippowdon, and he runs his Hippowdon in a team of 3 with Metagross and Gyarados. So I'm really excited to jump into these battles with you guys. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Alright, let's start watching the set. Hippowdon is a solid spice pick in Master League Premier. It runs a quick move of Ice Fang with charge moves of Body Slam and Earth Power. It does really well against the dragons like Dragonite and Garchomp and Togekiss. Now, you would think because it's a ground type it might have a positive matchup against this Metagross, but because Ice Fang does a lot of damage, it's not a very easy to generate energy type of quick move. So getting to those Earth Powers to deal super effective damage to Metagross just takes too long for it to win out the matchup. So he swapped into Gyarados. His opponent countered with the Togekiss. He got through an Aqua Tail, got a shield, going for a second Aqua Tail here. I wouldn't expect the shield, but the opponent decided to shield that also, and now he has a 2 shield to no shield advantage, and he can just let his Gyarados go down here and essentially farm the heck out of this Togekiss with this Metagross and have a huge advantage going into the finishing moments of this battle. So far, even though he kind of lost lead, not kind of, again, you have to land that Earth Power with Hippowdon, which is not easy. People see it coming because it takes so long. So he lost lead there. His opponent's going for a charge move. I'd be worried about a Flamethrower. He decides a shield, ends up being an Ancient Power. But again, with all this energy, he's still sitting in a pretty solid position. So now he has to wait for his opponent's move. His opponent decides to bring in the Garchomp, and he immediately switches into his Hippowdon. His opponent leaves their Garchomp in for a really long time. And you can see how much damage those Ice Fangs were doing to that Garchomp, dealing that double super effective damage. His opponent throws a Meteor Mash. He knows Hippowdon can take it, so he has no problem not shielding. And he's going for an Earth Power, and we're going to find out just how much an Earth Power from Hippowdon does. Does a solid chunk, a majority of Metagross's health, but that would explain why it doesn't really win that lead matchup against Metagross. Now the problem is he got farmed down, so he's going to have to shield this. Don't want to take any chances of this potentially being an Earthquake, even though it probably wasn't because his Metagross only farmed up so much. And he's going to commit to a Bullet Punch down of the Metagross, waiting for the Garchomp to come in. And as much as the Garchomp's going to get to the Sand Tomb here, he has 2 Meteor Mashes loaded up, so this match is as good as over. Actually, his opponent went for an Outrage there, and that made this a lot closer than I expected it to be honest. So I was actually surprised. I thought that was going to be a Sand Tomb. The Garchomp barely survives that Meteor Mash, but he has a second one lined up, and is still going to be able to finish this match off. So that ended up being a little bit closer than I expected, but still was able to pull it through. Alright, let's get into the second match of the set. He's got Hippowdon on a Togekiss lead here. This is a positive matchup for his Hippowdon. These Ice Fangs will be dealing super effective damage to Togekiss, so let's see how his opponent decides to counter. They bring in a Magnezone. Now what you'll notice is Blitz didn't exactly switch out, and it's probably because his back line, it doesn't exactly have a great answer for Magnezone. He's got both a Metagross and a Gyarados back there. Gyarados definitely doesn't want to see the Magnezone. Metagross has an alright matchup there, but has to really land that Earthquake, and the Magnezone already has energy advantage from swapping in. Unfortunately, was not able to land the Earth Power, but I guess the one positive of keeping Hippowdon in here is it's going to double resist all the Wild Charges. It's double resisting all the Sparks, and the Wild Charge still does a decent amount. Not really. I mean, it's double resisted, so for double resisted damage, that's a decent amount, but also lowers the Magnezone's defense because they threw it. So their opponent's probably better off just going straight Mirror Shot. They probably realized that after they threw that Wild Charge. It's doing about the same damage. They probably shouldn't have thrown a Wild Charge at all to begin with. But he's going for another Earth Power here, and this will either grab his opponent's last shield or take it out. Gets the opponent's last shield, and again he's in a situation where he has a 2 shield to no shield advantage. But he decides to use his shield there, and I don't think that was the best call. I think he definitely should just let his Hippowdon go down and let his Metagross deal with this Magnezone, because now the Magnezone's getting to another Mirror Shot, and you definitely don't want to commit 2 shields to 2 Mirror Shots. So he kind of just wasted that shield before. He's going to bring in his Metagross here, and we're going to see how he decides to play this one out. The opponent's now getting to what could potentially be a Wild Charge or a Mirror Shot bait. He shields, ends up unfortunately being a Mirror Shot bait. His opponent swaps into a Togekiss, and he throws his Meteor Mash a bit too early. Definitely had plenty of time to farm up that Togekiss. Probably could have farmed up 2 Meteor Mashes before throwing the first one, and then he swaps into Gyarados, which is definitely not going to want to see a wild charge from this Magnezone. So he's not exactly playing himself into the best situations here. The Gyarados is going to go down. He is going to be able to bullet punch the Magnezone, which is a positive. He's leaving this situation with some energy, but this match got a little messy, a little quick. So here, he's going to have to go for 2 Meteor Mashes to take out the Dragonite, and he really needs to hope he can get both these Meteor Mashes off before the Dragonite can get to a Hurricane. So now it's going to be a race, and he just gets to the second Meteor Mash in time. So despite what looked like a couple misplays, a little odd situations to be in, ends up working out for the best, and he takes the second match of this set. Getting into the third match of the set, that's what I'm trying to say. Let's see what he ends up getting as a lead. He has Hippowdon on Machamp. Now, I don't really know how this matchup goes. The Ice Fangs will deal neutral damage, the counters and the fighting moves from Machamp will also deal neutral damage, and he'll probably get to the Body Slam around the same time the Machamp's going to get to the Cross Chop. So this Body Slam will go through. Machamp's definitely a bit glassier, but Hippowdon's pretty glassy too, even though he's this ginormous hippo. So he was able to get his shield. His opponent definitely overfarmed the bunch, has a ton of energy. Most likely a Cross Chop could be a bigger fighting move. It is a bigger fighting move, close combat. I was going to say, considering how much they farmed up, it might have been that. So it ends up being that. They swap their Machamp out, they bring in Gyarados, and they kind of give up Switch Advantage after winning Switch Advantage, but his only real counter for this Gyarados is a Gyarados of his own. So he's not exactly able to make his opponent pay, but should be able to get Switch Advantage here. So he lands that Crunch, and because he had a Shield Advantage, so that's definitely going to help him out. Has to watch out for potential bait. This is most likely a Crunch also. Ends up being a Crunch. He shields it. And now he might as well just commit to a Dragon Breath down. Hopefully he can get there before his opponent gets to a Crunch. Now this is close because his opponent had a little bit more energy than he did. So they might have just gotten to it. They just got to the Crunch. But he survives it, able to Dragon Breath down, leaving the situation with energy. And now has to worry about the Machamp. And well, they swap their Machamp out, so we don't even know what their third Pokemon is. So they bring the Machamp back in. This Aqua Tail will get the Machamp like extremely low. It'll put it like at 1 HP, if not take it out. So let's see if the opponent decides to shield. Decides to shield, he's going to swap now to not get farmed down. And we're not going to find out what his opponent's third Pokemon is yet. Now this is probably another close combat. I doubt they're running double fighting moves. Ends up being another close combat. So this is a fun way to run your Machamp. I got to give them props. They have that much energy. Oh my lord, this is another close combat. That's another close combat. Oh, please pray. Oh, okay, this is his one win condition right here. I was going to say, please pray it's either a Togekiss or a Metagross. This Earthquake should one-shot the Metagross. And it almost did, but it got it low enough where he could bullet punch it down. And now he can just bullet punch the Machamp down. And, oh no, he wasn't able to bullet punch it down. Can he Dragon Breath down with Gyarados? He was just able to take that match. Christ, wow, that was a fun moveset from his opponent, messing around with close combat Machamp. But you know what? He did everything he had to do right there and was able to take that match. These matches have been so intense. Let's see what the fourth match of this set's going to be like. What are the leads going to be? He's got Hippowdon on Garchomp. So, a very positive lead for him here. These Ice Fangs will deal double super effective damage to the Garchomp, and the Garchomp is going to have to land Outrages, which are not going to one-shot this Hippowdon in any way whatsoever. So now, this could potentially be a Sandtomb. I probably wouldn't shield, even if it ends up being the Outrage. That's okay. Hippowdon can tank it. The last thing you want to do is shield, let it be a Sandtomb, and then they get to the Outrage on the next charge move, and then they land an Outrage on your lowered defense. So, he's able to tank that. He can commit to an Ice Fang down. It looks like I don't know if they got a little lag there or whatnot, but in a very positive situation, and his opponent decides to bring in Togekiss. So that explains why they left their Garchomp in there to essentially just die and take the L, because they don't seem to have a great answer in the back for this Hippowdon. Togekiss would have taken super effective damage from it also. He could definitely just go into Metagross nice and comfortably here, and then we'll find out what the third Pokemon their opponent is running. So he brings in the Metagross, and his opponent took a little while to swap, and ends up being a Metagross, and he's got a Gyarados in the back. So what his opponent could have done, instead of just leaving his Garchomp in there to essentially just die, was safe swap in the Metagross, even though he does have a Gyarados to essentially deal with it. So, I don't know, this match was probably going positive for Blitzcam either way. I was just trying to think through another way, other than letting the Garchomp just stand there and die. But either way, he gets a Crunch off, and this one should be pretty straightforward. He could shield the charge move coming from the Metagross. He can go for the Aqua Tail. He could do a lot of things here. He could not shield also, let his Gyarados go down. which is fine because now the Metagross can just completely farm down the opposing Metagross, and then he could double Meteor Mash Togekiss and wrap this match up nice and quickly. So let's see if their opponent decides to stay in. The opponent wants to play this one out to the very bitter end. Respect to that. If you want to quit and save time, respect to that also. But either way, he's getting to the second Meteor Mash here, the second Metagross. He's getting to the second Meteor Mash here, and this will definitely one-shot the Togekiss and win him the 4th match of this set. It's nice to have a pretty straightforward match after the first 3 being so intense. So, getting to this 5th match, I'm liking Hippowdon. It does really well against the Dragons, like I mentioned earlier, and Togekiss. What I don't like about it is that it doesn't threaten those Steel types like Magnezone and Metagross that much. Maybe if Ice Fang generated energy a little bit quicker, or Earth Power was less energy to get to, Hippowdon could be more meta for those types of situations, but Hippowdon's really only good against those Steels and like the no shielding situations. So Magnezone probably shouldn't have even switched out of that. I have to double check the sim. I know that like Hippowdon's going to double resist all the electric moves, but those Mirror Shot spams could probably add up, and it probably wouldn't be a terrible matchup for Magnezone, like to the point where it didn't have to run away that quickly. But either way, he's in a switch situation with Gyarados on Gyarados. He decides to shield this Aqua Tail last second, and because of that, he's going to be able to Dragon Breath down the Gyarados and keep switch advantage and let his Pokemon line up the way he's hoping. Now, Magnezone's probably going to come back out. We're just going to wait because his opponent's waiting out the switch timer. And he goes for the Aqua Tail, but he probably should have went for the Crunch here because he's not going to get to more than one charge move. The Magnezone's going to be able to spark him down before he tries to get to another Aqua Tail. But that'll end up being okay. He could bring in the Hippowdon now to eat any of the extra energy that this Magnezone has. See how he decides to play it out. He brings in the Hippowdon. His opponent's going for a charge move. This is most likely a Mirror Shot, because if you threw the Wild Charge, as much as you could debuff and run, it's doing like the same damage anyway. In this situation, might as well go for Mirror Shot. Opponent brings in a Machamp, and this isn't looking too great for him, because he's at a 2 shield to 1 shield disadvantage, and all the Machamp's fighting moves are going to be dealing neutral damage. So these counters and cross chops are adding up, and he's going to get to his first Meteor Mash now. This will threaten the Machamp's first shield. Should most likely get it, because the Machamp definitely wants to overpower this Metagross as much as possible. And now he's throwing another charge move here. This won't take out the Metagross, but we'll get it into farm range. He ends up using his shield really last second. Like, you couldn't even tell he clicked that, but he used his shield really last second, and that was a little bit unfortunate because of the fact that the Machamp is still able to get to another cross chop before he got to a Meteor Mash, and that shield kind of went to waste. So now his only real play here is to throw this Body Slam like he's doing, get the shield from the Machamp. This match isn't looking too positive, but I guess the Machamp is kind of in farm range, so he has one win condition here. He has to hope that the Hippowdon can survive these counters and cross chops, and he has to completely Ice Fang down the Machamp so he can land an Earth Power on the Magnezone to pull out the match. Will he be able to do it? He Ice Fanged down the Machamp. The Hippowdon survived the sparks and got to the Earth Power just in time. 1 HP and a dream. Earth powered the Magnezone to sweep 5-0 set. That was insane. I honestly didn't think he had a chance there once the Machamp came into that Metagross. That was crazy. Absolutely insane matches. Blitzcam, thank you so much for the submission. I really enjoyed watching Hippowdon in play. I'm definitely going to give it a try. Now, if any of you want to submit me some battles, the link to my Google Drive is in the description of this video. Feel free to submit me a set of 5 using maybe a unique team or Spice Pokemon, anything you're excited about. Feel free to submit it to me. I have been getting a bunch of submissions, so I do apologize if I don't get to yours, but I will definitely try my best to, especially because then I want to also show people my battles too, so you know, there's that constant balance, but I will try my best to get to as many submissions, so feel free to use that link to submit me battles. Also, don't forget to check me out on Twitch if you want to see my battles consistently on an almost daily basis. All my sets, I pretty much do them on Twitch every day these days, so by all means go and drop a follow and a like there, well, not a like, just drop a follow there, and I think that pretty much covers it. Again, thank you Blitz for the submission. Solid battles of Hippowdon. Let me know what you guys thought of the Pokemon. Let me know what you thought of the team. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I will see you guys in the next video.